I'm Alex Steinhauser, and the event I've been working on is called the Family Fish Around. It's an outdoor event located at Lake Somerville State Park, and it's done through Texas Parks and Wildlife. And I've got a little slideshow here to walk you through what the event's about. So we set the event date for July 14th, 2021. If you're trying to replicate this program, you could pick any other date, but you would want to keep it pretty much in those warmer summer months, as the program does cover fishing and water recreation, which are two activities typically done in the summer. So we're trying to mirror that by picking the same season as the two activities. Then our target audience is pretty much going to be the local community, with the goal of kind of diversifying our customer base and reaching out to more people. Because we know that there are people who have been historically underserved, and we want to kind of bring them into the parks in general, and especially in this case fishing and water recreation. That's not to say we would turn away people from outside the local community. That's just not the main goal of this event. And the purpose is pretty self-explanatory, just to educate attendees over the rules, ethics, and safety concerns for fishing and water recreation, and then community outreach. We just want to help create people in the community who are ethical, people who can recreate safely in our parks and kind of realize the value that we bring. So now we'll just take a look at the venue, which is Lake Somerville State Park. What I have here, this is just the state park map provided by Texas Parks and Wildlife. You can find this on their website, just to kind of give you an overview of where the park is and what it looks like. But the area we're going to be focusing on is more towards the right side of the map. So this is pulled straight from Google Maps, so you can just kind of see the lake and I guess the landscape we're working with a little more. This yellow highlighted area I have here is where the event's going to be taking place, and on the next slide I'll have this zoomed in on that and we'll break down what's happening where exactly. Alright, so this is that whole yellow area that I had on the last slide but broken down. So the key areas here are this blue circle I have. That's, as you can see, there's a parking lot contained in there, so that's really just parking. And then depending on how many people we would end up having to register for the event, you could potentially also have roadside parking within that whole blue area, as long as you prepared for that. Then the red strip along the beach, that's going to be where, and I'll go over these a little more in a minute for the activities, but we'll be having fishing practice there from the shore after kind of the instruction period. And this instruction period will take place in the overlap of the blue and red areas. That'll be where we have, at the very beginning of the event, we'll have a park police officer come in and have kind of more of a staged part of the event there, which I'll go over in a second. And the other area to note is the yellow area. That's going to be where we have our dry fishing at, for people who've have maybe no experience fishing at all. They need to learn how to cast. We don't want to put them at the water with everyone else yet. We'll have a ranger in that yellow area for just casting into the grass and just learning the very basic fundamentals of it. So here's the schedule for the event. I'm not going to go through every little detail of it, but feel free to pause and read through the entire thing. But a few key things to note are, the very first thing for staff starts at 6 in the morning. So as far as the staff is concerned, it's an earlier day than usual. And just keep in mind, you'd be compensating, giving people a few hours back later in the week, most likely. Then the next kind of big thing to note is at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have that staged event I was talking about with the park police officer, where the overlap of those two areas was. That'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning. Kind of the first big thing to happen with all the guests is he'll go over the rules and regulations and then have a question and answer session with them. Let's make sure we're starting off with the knowledge before we go get in the water. Then kind of the lunch period is also important to note. For guests, it's going to be just allow them to eat whenever they want. Just kind of a free thing for them. And then for staff, it'll be a rotating lunch schedule offset so that there's always staff on hand, but we're also making sure our people are taken care of and do get to eat. And it'll continue with the program throughout the afternoon. And then once the guests are gone, that doesn't mean the staff are gone. They still have to stay behind and make sure everything gets cleaned up and wrapped up for the next day. Going over our promotion plan a little bit, there's nothing too complicated. We'll have these flyers that we'll physically distribute between a few places. The front office at the park, just to kind of gain people's interest as they come through there possibly. We'll definitely reach out to local businesses. Since our target is the local community, we can see if we can get any cooperation from businesses to have some of these at the front. So people might gain interest from there. We'll certainly verbally tell our visitors that we do see. Tell them that this exists, and whether they want to come or not, maybe they know someone else who might want to come, and we can get word of mouth to work for us a little here. And we'll make social media posts for the people who may follow us or follow someone else who follows us. Again, kind of reach someone indirectly through there, hopefully, who's maybe never been fishing or been to a park before. And then we'll reach out to other parks who maybe have visitors there, and there's not a lake at that park, and the visitor's interested in fishing but has never really had the chance. They can maybe learn about this opportunity to start through another park, and then we can also gain a customer there. Now to go over our registration plan, we're keeping it pretty simple. This will be an electronic survey we'll have made, and we'll most likely have QR codes available. It's just a convenient way that most people can access, and certainly we'll have links and other things, but QR codes will be the kind of first way that we get people to access this. And it's just 3 simple questions. We're just gauging how many people we're getting and kind of how capable they are of completing the program. Do they have what they need? Just to make sure that we're catering to them and providing an event that actually is beneficial, so we're not ending up with a number of people we aren't prepared to accommodate or people who don't have the supplies they need. We want to make sure that we set this up for success, starting with registration. And kind of to look back at a few of the key activities we've gone through, just to keep in mind for an event like this. We're starting with the explanation of the rules plus a question and answer session. This is just because we want to make sure that we're starting off with that knowledge base before we get to actually practicing anything. It could be done differently, but this is the way I kind of see it working out best for everyone, and hopefully having the best impact on the visitors that we can. Then we'll have the practice sessions, and I make sure to split those for a few reasons. We don't want to have we have the 2 areas for if someone's really uncomfortable, they can go to the dry area because A, safety, we don't want to accidentally get someone hooked at this event, and B, just to make them more comfortable. If they're not ready to go in the water yet, we don't want to put them in front of a bunch of other people. We're going to give them that chance to go off to the side and get to where they're comfortable before they come back. That's just to make the event more enjoyable for them. And then the free activity session, once everyone's mastered at least the basic skills and can safely and responsibly, enjoy water recreation, they're free to do so. But we also want to make sure that they know that there is more to the park than just a lake, and they can, as a visitor to the park, they're free to go around and enjoy hiking trails and any other amenities the park has to offer. We want to make sure they realize there is an experience to be had here. And that's really the basics of this event. There's lots of little details in it, but from this you should be able to get a pretty good understanding. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.